Hi Year 9, I'm just going to give you a little bit of guidance on your knowledge organisers which should have been sent to your house. So you should have a physical copy with which you can complete, or there is also an electronic copy if you prefer to type into your knowledge organisers. Either way, you'll need to complete this. Just the medieval medicine, not the Renaissance. That's for a later date. And you'll need to complete these, then you'll need to upload it to Show My Homework for your class teacher to have a quick look at. So I'm just going to explain a little bit on how this needs to be completed. And I would suggest that for the first row that you copy my answers into your, so you might need to pause this video in order to understand. So the purpose of knowledge organisers really is to chunk up the work that you have covered so far, and these are really good for revision and recapping on the work that you've covered so far. And you can see that this knowledge organiser is really focused on change and continuity and addressing which things changed and which things developed over time. And this is because your paper 1 medicine through time really is focused on this change in continuity from the period of the medieval times right through to the present day. So what's really important here is that we highlight that in our knowledge organisers as well. However, it is a little tricky, as you will see, a little tricky to do this because this is our first time period, and really when we move on to Renaissance, this will become clearer as we'll be able to compare, and we'll be able to identify things that changed and which things stayed the same over time. So let's start off here. So you can see in the first column here, we have the key concepts and perhaps keywords that are linked to each of the concepts. So we have the four humours here, and we can see some of the keywords linked to the four humours, like Hippocrates, who we know is the founder of the four humours, blood, bile, and phlegm. Okay, and then we need to, in the bigger, to the right of that first column, so in the second column, we can see there's a little bit of description and key facts. So the theory was based, and this is what I've chosen to written, the theory was based on the four basic elements, which were fire, water, earth, and air. Medieval people thought that the body was made up of these four elements too, which were all created by digesting different foods. The four humours were blood, phlegm, black bile, cholera. There was the belief that all the humours must be balanced and equal. If they became mixed, they were unbalanced and you would become ill. If I was to criticise my own work, and for those of you out there wanting to develop your work, I would put next to blood, phlegm, black bile and cholera what they were. So we all know what blood is. Phlegm, you might want to put in brackets, is the watery substance coughed up or sneezed out of the nose or expelled in tears. Black bile isn't one particular substance in the body, but is probably referring to clotted or dark blood, which can be visible in excrement or in vomit. And cholera, or yellow bile, so cholera is sometimes called yellow bile, and this is pus or vomit, that kind of yellowy pus that you might get coming out of spots, for example. That would be yellow bile. Okay, so I would develop this answer. And then if you look in the next column, we're looking at impact. Why didn't this change? And during the medieval period, we can see that there's some continuity with the four humours. So obviously the Greek period came quite some time before the medieval period. So why were these ideas still in existence during the medieval period? And I've written as my answer, the theory was created by an ancient Greek physician named Hippocrates in the 5th century BCE. Later, a Roman physician named Galen liked the ideas of Hippocrates, and therefore the church also really liked the ideas of Galen, as his ideas fitted with the church's own. So a lot of what your this next column is going to say is really about the role of the church, because as you know, it was quite dominant here. So what I've tried to express in this column here is that the ancient Greek physician Hippocrates' ideas existed because later on Galen developed the ideas of Hippocrates, and then later on still the church during the medieval time picked up on Galen's ideas and liked them, and decided that it would promote these ideas to their followers who were illiterate. So these were the only source of knowledge. The church was the only source of knowledge that they had access to. And then if you can see in the final column here, I've already completed it for you. And again, as you can see, it's all going to be pretty much the same at the moment, because we're looking at the medieval time, and as we know, the role of the church was quite large at this time. So I've put factors that led to change or continuity. There's no change at the moment. Sorry, it's only really continuity because we've only examined one time period. So moving on, your next one, the theory of opposites. We know that that's linked to Galen, because Galen developed the idea of the four humours and took them on as his own, but developed those ideas. And the words linked to that is Galen, four humours, purging, and bloodletting. So I might write something. No, I'm not writing it in here, but I might write something along the lines of, let's see. So Galen developed the theory of four humours to include the ideas of balancing the humours by using the theory of opposites. For example, because you need to add some detail. For example, he suggested that too much phlegm, which was linked to water and the cold, could be cured by eating hot peppers. A fever or an excess of blood could be treated with cucumber, which would cool the patient down when eaten. So given a bit of description here and some key facts, if you would like. And so why didn't this change? Again, you're going to have something a little bit similar as above, but perhaps you want to go into a little bit more detail with this answer. So you could have something like Galen wrote that the body was clearly designed for a purpose and that the different parts of the body were meant to work together in balance, as first proposed by Hippocrates. Galen also believed in the idea of the soul. This theory fitted in very well with the ideas of the church, who believed that God created man in his image, and so they promoted Galen's teachings. So something along those lines. You might want to rewind and take note of what I've written and complete that row below. So I've really helped you out now with the first two rows. And so your job now is to move on and to complete the rest of your knowledge organisers here, using your notes from your previous lessons. So I hope that helps. Any questions, please contact your class teacher.